Hi, welcome to the Marley Bird YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make the motifs for the Weekend in Stockholm Throw. This throw is a wonderful project and one that you're going to want to make for somebody who wants to keep warm because it's a very warm blanket. I had it made up using Red Heart Super Saver yarn in some really bright colors. Look down here and let me show you a little bit about this blanket. If you look down here, you can see that this is just a little section of the blanket that I had made up, and we used some really bright colors for this. The original blanket was done in some really bright colorways of a discontinued yarn, so when I wanted this made up again, I wanted to maintain the bright colors of the blanket because I think it just really adds something special to it. What's really nice is that you have the nice Aran color throughout the entire body of the blanket, and so that connects all of these motifs together really great. But you alternate the three colors inside the blanket as you're making the motifs, and so the combination of those colors really give this blanket some wonderful character. I'm going to pull in two individual motifs here so you can see what I mean. You make them individual motifs like this, and you have a choice. You can either seam these together using a mattress stitch or an invisible seam or a single crochet join, whatever you want to do, however you feel like joining your squares together. Or you could do a join as you go. Now, there is another video for a join as you go for the Stockholm Throw that you can go and check out if you want to learn how to do that. But today, I'm going to show you how to make the individual motif in itself, because these are just really fun to make. And if you decide that you like this motif, but maybe you don't want to make the blanket, you could very easily make two motifs, join them together like this, single crochet around the outside here, and make pot holders. So there are a lot of different things you could do just by learning this motif. So I'm going to show you how to do that. First things first, I want you to go ahead and grab yourself some wonderful yarn. As I said, I'm using Red Heart Super Saver. It comes in so many different colors, you guys. So if you don't like the bright colors like I used, you could absolutely use more muted tones, or even like ombre sort of tones. I mean, you could do all sorts of colorways. You just go and check it out. You can find all the different colors over at redheart.com. And you're going to need several different colors. For this particular lesson, I want you to grab 3 different colors. For that, I want you to go ahead and grab an I crochet hook, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. Go ahead and get yourself a steel tapestry needle. You guys know I love my steel tapestry needles. And a good pair of scissors, okay? Some good sharp scissors. Gather your materials and join me back here. We're going to get started on this wonderful motif. Okay, so you've gathered your materials and it's time to get started. Make sure you have downloaded the pattern, which is free, over at redheart.com. I'll put a link to it right down there in the video notes, so you don't have to go searching for it. Just download the pattern and follow along with me as I show you how to make this motif. If you look down here, I already got my strand of yarn ready to go. And I'm going to begin by putting a slip knot onto my hook. If you need a refresher on how to do a slip knot, please check out some of the other videos right here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel. Once I have my slip knot on my hook, I'm ready to go. I'm going to begin by chaining 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then to form a ring, I'm going to slip stitch into the very first chain I did. So to do a slip stitch, I go into the chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull that loop directly through the loop on my hook. So now I have a nice ring formed right here, okay? What's great about this ring is I'm going to be working into the center of the ring. So this is really important. This is the center of our motif. The next part of the instructions say we need to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it goes on to say that this chain 7 counts as a chain 3 and a treble crochet. So we know that it would be 1, 2, 3 chains from our hook. That's our chain 3. And the following 4 chains are our treble crochet. I'm going to take a stitch marker. Those of you who have followed along in my videos before know I like stitch markers. And I'm going to mark the 4th chain. So 1, 2, 3, so that's the 4th, that's 3 chains. And this 4th one here is the top of what would be the treble crochet. So I'm going to mark it because I know from reading further on into the pattern that that's where I'm going to join with the slip stitch to finish this round. Once I've done that, the pattern says that I need to put 6 treble crochets into this ring, okay? So I've yarned over my hook twice, go into the big old circle right there, the hole that we've created with our ring when we joined with a slip stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. Let's do that one more time so you can see how it goes. I've yarned over my hook twice to prep myself for the treble. I go into the ring, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. I've completed 2 trebles and I need a total of 6, okay? So I need to do that 4 more times. So I'm going to do that rather quickly here so that you guys don't have to be bothered by me going super slow. If you need a refresher on treble crochets, if you need a little bit more instruction than what I've given here, there again is a full video available right here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel. I try and provide you guys with all the videos you're going to need to complete all the various projects just in and of themselves, so that way you're able to go to any particular technique or stitch you need refresher on. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trebles completed, and then it says to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. Now in the instructions, you'll see that all of those instructions, these 6 treble crochets and chain 3, are all within some brackets. And after the brackets, it says to do that 3 times. So that means all of this, we have to do that 3 times total. So we just did it once. So I need to do it 2 more times. So I'm going to yarn over my hook twice, and I'm going to work my treble crochet, and I'm going to do that 6 treble crochets. As I'm going along, I will tell you guys a little story about this Weekend in Stockholm blanket. Back when it was originally designed, I was working for Debbie Stoller as her project manager for all of these patterns. And so one of my best friends, Jenny Casaneda, is the one who actually made the original Weekend in Stockholm blankets as a contract crocheter. And when I asked her if she would want to make this sample for me using the Red Heart Super Saver yarn, she said absolutely, because she loved making that blanket so much. So the lady who has made this sample that I showed you guys at the start of the video, she actually made the original as well. And she said that she would make it again because it's so much fun. So if that is not a testament of how cool this pattern is, I don't know what is, because there aren't many patterns out there that I would want to make several times, right? Especially a blanket. But she loved making this one, so I really hope you guys will like making it too. Let's see, this is 4, and I'm going along. It's just really fun to see these motifs put together and the different colors that I've used to represent each motif. And watching them all blend together is just a really cool thing. So I've done this 3 times. I need to do my chain 3, 1, 2, 3. So once again, just to recap, we have 6 treble crochets, a chain 3, 6 treble crochets, a chain 3, and 6 treble crochets and a chain 3. Now it says that we're supposed to do 5 treble crochets in the ring, so I'm going to do 5 more. Again, I'm just going right here into the ring. I'm going to hold my tail out of the way. 1, 2. And do you guys know why we're only doing 5 this time? It's because if you remember, the original chain 7 counted as a treble crochet and a chain 3. So the original treble crochet of those chain 7 counts as one of our 6 treble crochets, just like the ones we've been doing. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 1 more here. Right there. And then I'm going to join with a slip stitch into the 4th chain of my original chain 7. And what's really great is it's the one that I have marked, so I don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to just pull that up so I can set this down. You guys can see what's going on. You can see here that I'm starting to get a square, right? Can you see that? My chain 3 areas are representing the corners that I'm going to start building my square on. Go ahead, finish this part of the motif, join me back here, and I'm going to get you started on round 2. Okay, you finished round 1. Let's jump in and move on to round 2. The instructions state for round 2, we need to go ahead and we need to do a slip stitch into the next chain 3 space. So if you remember at the finish of round 1, we slip stitched into the chain 4 of the chain 7 original, and this is the chain 3 space. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put a slip stitch just into that big space. All we're doing is moving where our actual stitch is so we can begin working this round. The instructions then say we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it says that we're going to do a cluster. Now here's how we're going to do a treble crochet cluster, okay? We're going to yarn over our hook twice. We're going to go into the next stitch, insert our hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. So we have 4 loops on our hook. And we're going to partially complete this treble crochet. So we yarn over our hook, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over our hook, pull through 2 loops and stop. So we've partially completed a treble. We're going to do that again into the next stitch as well. So I yarn over my hook twice, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2 and stop. And do that to the next one. So I yarn over my hook twice, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. I'm going to do this for all 6 of the treble crochets we completed from the previous round. I'm just partially completing all of these. At the end, I'm going to end up with 7 loops on my hook because I have partially completed all of these trebles and I had 1 loop to begin with. So I will end up with 7 loops on my hook. So I've yarned over and gone through 2 on all those. So I've partially completed them. So I've left the final yarn over, the final loop on there ready to go. So let's count. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops. That's what I want. Now I'm going to yarn over and draw through all 7 of those loops. And what that has done is it's created a treble crochet cluster. So I've pulled together all of those treble crochets as they've worked into these 6 treble crochets from the row below. What it ends up doing as I pull in the original is it gives it a really cool like petal sort of look. So right here, this is what we've done with these stitches right here. Okay, so I'm going to put that back out of the way. So we've just completed the cluster. We're going to chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it says slip stitch into the next chain 3 space. So here's the chain 3 space. I'm going to do my slip stitch, so I yarn over, pull up a loop, pull a loop right there. And again, it says to repeat from star. So the star, we go all the way back where the original part said to chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I work my treble crochet cluster once again. So I yarn over my hook twice. I'm going to show you how to do this so that you guys can follow along, just in case you missed it really on the last one. Going into this first treble crochet of the next group of 6 I did from the previous round. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and I'm going to partially complete the treble. So I yarn over, go through 2, and yarn over, go through 2. I'm left with 2 loops on hook, and I do it again. I yarn over my hook twice, I go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, and I leave it right there. So I've partially completed, yarn over my hook twice, go into the next treble crochet, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. I'm going to do this for all 6 of them. Yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over twice, yarn over, and one more time because I'm on the last one. It does get a little fiddly because you get all of these stitches just resting on there. You'll end up with 7 chains on your hook, or 7 loops on your hook, I should call them. And you'll yarn over and draw through all 7 loops. So you finish off that top of the petal, the treble crochet cluster. Go ahead, finish these clusters, and you're going to join with a slip stitch into the very first join you did. So back here in the very first slip stitch join you did, okay, I could mark it. Let's go ahead. You know what? I'll take the marker off from the previous round so you can see. The very first slip stitch I did, that's the very first join, okay, it's right there. You'll join with the slip stitch into that space to complete this round. Go ahead and finish this round and join me back here and we'll begin round 2. You finished round 2, it's time to start round 3. Let's go ahead and get started. If you look down here, you can see that I went ahead and I joined with a slip stitch into that marked stitch that I showed you at the end of the last round. And I've got to finish off my color. So all I did is I cut the yarn and I just pulled that yarn right on through because we're done with this original first color and it's time to join the second color. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to remove my marker because it's no longer necessary for this particular round. And the instructions say that we need to go ahead and join the second color with a slip stitch into the top of any of the clusters. So I'm just going to come over here to this one cluster, and the top of the cluster, it looks like an elongated V. Can you see that? It looks like an elongated V, and that's where I'm going to join with my slip stitch. So I'm just putting my hook right in there, yarn over with my new color, pull up a loop, yarn over and draw through the loop on my hook. So I've just joined with a slip stitch, okay? So I've joined with the slip stitch and it says, working over the chain 5 of round 2, we're gonna work 3 treble crochets, chain 1, 3 treble crochets, chain 2, 3 treble crochets, chain 1, 3 treble crochets in the next chain 3 space of round 1. So all of that, all of those stitches that I just said, you can see they're in those parentheses. We're going to do all of that into the chain 3 space of the first round. So here's how we're going to do this. So let's go ahead and let's do our 3 treble crochets. So we're going to yarn over our hook twice to prep us for our 3 trebles. And we're going to skip over this chain 5, come all the way over here to this original chain 3 from the first round, okay? That's where we did our slip stitch when we were joining from round 2. And we're going to work all of this into this big space right here, okay? So I'm going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, because I'm completing the treble crochet this time, okay? So that's 1. Yarn over my hook twice, go back into the same space. We're not changing spaces. Yarn over, draw through 2, 3 times, and I completed my second. So I yarn over my hook twice, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. So that's 3 treble crochets. Now it says to chain 1, and I do 3 more. So I yarn over my hook twice, come down here. I have not switched, you guys. Can you see that? I haven't moved along. They're all going into the same space. Yarn over my hook twice, come down here. So that's 2 for the second set of 3, and this will be my third from the second set of 3. Okay, I'm gonna get some more yarn here. It's getting caught. Don't you hate it when that happens? All right, we should be good here. So we have our 3 trebles, chain 1, 3 trebles, and now it says that we need to go ahead and chain 2. So 1, 2, and then we're going to repeat all that again because it says there that we're going to put 3 treble crochets, chain 1, and then 3 treble crochets. Still working into the same space. We are not changing spaces. That's what those parentheses mean. Those of you out there who have trouble reading patterns, whenever you see instructions written in parentheses, that lets you know that everything that's in those parentheses, they're all getting worked into whatever the stitch is or the space is as indicated right after the parentheses are finished. I think I actually did a double on that one. It's very similar to like an algebra problem, okay? It's everything in those parentheses are going to be done into this chain 3 space. All right, so I'll set this down and let's take a look at what we have. So what I have here is I have 3 trebles, a chain 1, 3 trebles, a chain 2, 3 trebles, a chain 1, 3 trebles. Okay, that's everything that is written into those parentheses. Now it says slip stitch into the top of the next cluster. So let's find the top of our cluster. It's right there. Can you see it? There's our long V. So I'm going to slip stitch into that. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull through. And then it says that we are going to repeat from star. Well, if we go back and find where the star is, it says, once again, working over these chain 5s and working into this chain 3 space from round 1, we're going to do all of this one more time. So I'm going to get you started one more time, and then I'm going to let you guys carry on until you get to the end of round 3, ready for round 4, okay? So we just did that. I'm going to yarn over my hook twice. Again, I'm skipping over all of these chain 5s and coming over here to this chain 3 space from the first round, and I'm going to start working my treble crochets into that space. So there's 1, 2, 3, chain 1, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to do a chain 2, and we repeat this all again because it's all written again still in those parentheses. There's 1, 2, you can see the little motifs coming in into view. There's 3, chain 1, and last one. What this is doing, you guys, is we're building on the corner. That's why we have to do all of this in this corner, in these corner stitches, and these corner chain 3s. 2, and this is the last one. All right, so chain 3. So if I set this down, you can see I'm starting to build my corners right here. Chain, or my 3 trebles, chain 1, 3 trebles, chain 2, 3 trebles, chain 1, 3 trebles. I would carry on, once again, slip stitch into the top of this cluster, and then I repeat all of these instructions again over here into this chain 3 space. Okay, so I'm going to pull in the finished one so you can see what's going on. We've completed all of this green section when we were working on the blue, right? So now we are using the Aran color, but we're working on this blue section, and you can see it's building the corners, okay? So there's 3 trebles, chain 1, 3 trebles, chain 2, 3 trebles, chain 1, 3 trebles, slip stitch, and then it carries on, okay? Go ahead, finish round 3. Join me back here right before you're about to join with your slip stitch on round 3, and we'll begin round 4. All right, so you're at the end of round 3. Look down here. I'm going to show you how to join and how to begin round 4. You can see I finished all the way around all the corners of round 3, and I'm getting ready to join into the very first join. So this was my original slip stitch. I'm just going into the slip stitch, yarning over, pulling up a loop, and pulling that through the loop on my hook. I've went ahead and I've cut my tail, and I don't think I've said yet that I want you to always cut your tail leaving at least 4 to 6 inches, you guys, because it'll be so much easier to weave in your tails later. And I just pulled it through. So we're done. We've completed round 3, and it was time to start round 4. So for round 4, we're starting with a new color. So whatever color is next in your sequence for this particular motif, go ahead and grab that one. And you can see that it says to go ahead and join with the slip stitch into the top of any cluster. So just as we did the top of the cluster here, we're going to do that again. So I'm going to go into that same cluster right there, and I'm going to join with the slip stitch just like I did before. I've went in, yarn over, pull up a loop, and I'm going to join with my slip stitch. Now it says to go ahead and chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, woo, maybe 4. And it says that that is going to count as a treble crochet. And it wants me to do, or the pattern instructions say, to do 5 more treble crochets into that same stitch. So into this same stitch, you guys, it's like I'm working to the top of the cluster from the second round. I'm going to put 5 treble crochets, okay? So there's 1, yarn over my hook twice, 2, 3, yarn over my hook twice, 4, 5. Now the reason I've done 5 is because remember this first chain 4 counts as a treble crochet. So in essence I have 6 treble crochets right there, okay? Now it says that it wants me to go ahead and skip over these 3 trebles, this chain 1, and these 3 trebles, and it wants me to work, once again there's parentheses, it wants me to work 6 treble crochets in the next corner chain 2 space. Okay, so I'm going to put 6 treble crochets right there. So I'm going to yarn over twice, and I'm going to put 6 treble crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, this is a corner, so we've got to complete a corner. So you can see on the rest of the instructions in those parentheses, it says to chain 2 and put 6 more treble crochets in this same corner. So we're going to do 6 more treble crochets in this same corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to skip these 3 trebles, chain 1, 3 trebles, and working over here into the top of that cluster, just like we did at the beginning, we're going to put 6 treble crochets right there as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going to set this down because that's gotten you through 1 full repeat. So this is where we joined, and we joined at the top of the cluster from round 2. We did a chain 4, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to put it into the top of that chain 4 because that's where we're going to join when we finish this round, okay? So we chained 4, we did 5 treble crochets, which gives us 6 treble crochets total because the chain 4 counts as a treble. We skipped over all of these stitches over here to this chain 2 corner right here. We did 6 trebles, chain 2, 6 trebles, all into that same space because all of these instructions were in parentheses, remember? Then we skipped over these trebles, chain 1, trebles, and working again into the top of this cluster from round 2, we did 6 treble crochets. Okay? Now it says to repeat this twice more. So you repeat this, so 1, 2, so that would put you right here, okay, right here in the pattern. And then it says to go ahead and skip all of these again, work your 6 trebles, chain 2, 6 trebles into this corner, skip all of these and join with the slip stitch into this chain 4 of the original chain 4, okay? Go ahead, complete round 4 and finish off your work and join me back here for round 5. We're almost done. There's only 6 rounds. All right, so you finished round 4 and it's time to move on to round 5 and 6. These are the final 2 rounds, okay? So look down here, I'm going to show you how to do that. The first part of the instructions say for round 5, it wants us to join the new color with a slip stitch into the same place. Now what that means to me is where you joined to finish off round 5 or round 4, you want to join with a slip stitch into that same space with your new color. Okay, then it says to go ahead and chain 1 and single crochet in the next 5 trebles. So you guys know how to do a single. I'm just going to go in, yarn over, pull up a loop, and draw through 2. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2 into the next 5 treble crochets. Okay, so it's just single crochets. The majority of this round is just single crochets. Here's where it gets different. So we've done 5, so we have our original join 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now it says it wants us to do a double crochet into the chain 1 space of round 3. So down here where we have these 3 trebles and then the chain 1 and then 3 trebles, we're coming all the way down here to this chain 1, yarn, put our hook in, yarn over, pull up a loop, and complete a double crochet. Now, when you do this, I want you to make sure that the height of your double crochet when it's all finished is back up to the same height as those singles. Does that make sense? You don't want this stitch to be squished down there. You want it to look nice and at the same level as those single crochets. This long, like the legs of the double crochet that are left are what gives it a really cool look to the finished piece, okay? Now you're going to go ahead and you're going to single crochet in the next 6 single crochets. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put 3 single crochets into this chain 2 corners. There's 1, 2, 3. So that turns my corner. So I'm not adding any extra change there. I'm just turning the corner. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my 6 single crochets here. I carry on doing this all the way around. When you get to the end of this round, I'm going to have you join and jump into round 6. So I'm going to keep going, you keep going, and then come back here and we'll finish off this round, okay? All right, so I'm at the end of round 5. I just finished my double crochet into my chain 1 space from round 3, and I'm going to join with the slip stitch to the very first stitch I did, just like that, and I'm not finishing off because this is our final color. The instructions say for round 6, we're going to go ahead and we're going to chain 3, and that's going to count as a double crochet, you guys. Then we're going to double crochet in each stitch around, so that counts for that one, and we're going to carry on, put double crochets in each of the single crochets. When we get to the corner single crochet, so the second single crochet of the 3 single crochets in the corner, we're going to do a double, a treble, and a double all in that one stitch to maintain the nice corner right there. Now, what's different between this way of completing motifs and doing join as you go motifs is that on the round 6 for join as you go motifs, not only would you be doing double crochets, but you would be joining those double crochets to the motif that is already completed. So you would be joining them at the same time. So I'm going to get over here to the corners so that you can see how to do the corner stitch. And again, I'm just doing double crochets, you guys, all the way along, and they're going in each of the single crochets with the exception of this corner. So here's my 3 single crochets in my corner. 1, 2, 3. In the second one there, so one in the dead center, I'm going to put a double, a treble, and a double, all in that one stitch. So and you can see that in the instructions, they're all in parentheses. And we've learned that whenever the instructions give you a set of stitches to do in parentheses, you're going to do all those into whatever stitch or space that's indicated. So I've done all of those into that one corner, and you can see right there, it maintains that nice tight corner right there, right? It looks really nice. So if I were going along, say I wanted to do this as a join as you go, okay? What I would do is I would get to the last part of my double crochet. I would pull in the completed motif that I want to join to, and let's say instead of, I could join right there at the top of the treble that I did on the corner of this one, but because I'm just showing you here in the videos, I want to show you how to do it here in the double crochets, but you'll use the same method to join at the corners as well. What you do is you put these back to back, so it's right side and right side, so I have wrong side and wrong sides together, and I've completed all the way up to the last part of my stitch here, and I'm going to go through my stitch, my corresponding stitch on the first motif, yarn over, pull up a loop, and when I pull that loop through, I'm going to finish it off by pulling it through the last 2 loops on my hook there. So let's do that one more time. I yarn over my hook to do my double crochet. I go into the stitch I'm supposed to on my active motif, so we'll call that my active motif. Yarn over, draw through 2, so I'm left with my 2 on here, right? So I would yarn over and draw through 2. But instead of doing that, not only am I going to do that, I'm going to join to the next stitch on the motif that's already completed. I'm putting my hook in there, yarning over, pulling up a loop. So now I have a loop joining into the motif that's completed, and I'm going to pull that loop through the last 2 loops on my hook. And what that does is it joins this motif to this one. Let's do that again. Yarn over my hook, go into the next stitch on my working motif, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, so I've partially completed a double. I go into the next stitch on my finished motif, so see that? Yarn over, pull up a loop, and I pull that loop all the way through all the loops that are already on my hook to complete the double crochet. I'm going to do that again so you guys can see this. I yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, go into the next stitch on the working or on the finished motif, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull that loop through the 2 loops on hook. I'm going to extend this out so you can see what's happening. You can see here that by doing this double crochet join as you go, I am seaming the 2 motifs together so that I don't have to go back later on and actually use my tapestry needle to seam the squares together. I am joining them as I go. I would continue doing this all the way down this row, and when I got to the corner, I would join them in the same method. When I did the treble crochet, instead of joining on the second as I did on the double crochet, I would join in the very last, yarn over and pull through on the treble, and that would join it into the corner. When I would join the next motif into play, I would join it into the corner of these 2 motifs. Let's pull this in here so you can see. If these 2 were joined here at this corner, this one would also join in that corner. So essentially you'll have 4 motifs all joined in one corner, and they're stitched together. And it's a very secure way to join your motifs, and it's really fast. It makes things a little bit faster when you're making actual motifs for a blanket. Now, having said that, I'm going to take these out. And I'm going to let you know that if you do not want to do join as you go, you don't have to, okay? You do not have to. You can carry on just doing double crochets as normal, okay? So instead of doing any sort of join, I would finish off and do my double, continue on doing double crochets to the end, and do my double, treble, double in my corner here. Finish this all off. Take the time to weave in your ends right now, you guys. Don't wait till the very end because it takes forever. Weave them in right now. So you just turn your work over and start to weave in all of your ends and then set it aside. Once you have all of your motifs finished, if that's the method you're going to do it, then you would go and you would either use a single crochet join, a slip stitch join, a mattress stitch, a woven stitch, a lace-up stitch. You can join this any way you want. If you want some more particular instructions on how to do the mattress stitch, which I think would be really pretty with this one, I have an entire video on 3 different ways to seam crochet right here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel. So go check that out. It's a great way to learn some wonderful ways to seam your crochet work, whether it's for a blanket or for a sweater or whatever it may be. So all you need to do now is continue making these patterns, these motifs, following the pattern, and make sure you make note of what your color sequence is so that when you lay it all out for assembly, you know where what motif and what colors are meant to go where. Once it's all complete, you finish off with a simple border round. Let me pull in the actual blanket and you can see the border. If I pull this up here. The border is just a real simple round of beautiful shells all the way around the blanket, and it looks just beautiful. It's the perfect combination with the wonderful petal looking stitches here. It just ties it all in really wonderfully. And again, it uses the main color A, which for this blanket is the Aran color. Okay. Now you know how to make these wonderful motifs for the Weekend in Stockholm blanket. This blanket was designed by Debbie Stoller. I don't think I mentioned that at the very start, but it was designed by Debbie Stoller, and it's just beautiful. It has a lot of different colors, a lot of really cool shapes and techniques, and the motifs themselves are rather large, so they go really quickly. Hopefully you'll give the join as you go double crochets a try because it makes it really super fast and really pretty. If your blanket seems a little bit, say that some of your motifs seem a little bit tighter than others, I want to encourage you to make sure that you try and stay nice and relaxed as you're making your treble crochets, because it's easy to start pulling them a little tighter, and it makes the motifs a little bit more snug than other ones. So you want to make sure you stay nice and relaxed. If your finished blanket is a little bit what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe uneven. Go ahead, give it a bath and block it out. Best thing to do is put a little wool wash or Tide or something like that in a bathtub. Put your entire blanket in the bathtub and let it soak. Let it wash, okay? Rinse out the soaps if you're using a wool wash that doesn't, that you need to rinse out. And then pin it out, like lay it out flat and just lay it out flat and stretch it out a little bit, and it'll make it nice and neat. Something that's really cool about the Red Heart Super Saver is that you can also throw this in the washing machine if you don't want to take that extra step to hand wash the whole thing. You can throw this in the washing machine and dryer just to make sure that it's all nice and cozy and ready for you to snuggle up in or to give away to one of your friends. I will remind you once again to please use your tapestry needle. Just like I told you guys, this steel tapestry needle, make sure you use it to weave in your ends. I encourage you to weave them in like through several different directions versus just crocheting over your ends, because imagine if you wash this and all of those ends poke out when you're all done. It just would not be very pretty. So if you're going to take the time to make a blanket like this with all the color work, make sure you take the time to weave in your ends. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget that this is a free pattern over at redheart.com. I am Marley Bird, and this is the Marley Bird YouTube channel. Last but not least, as my kids say, please smash that like button and join me back here for all your crochet and knitting needs. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.